comedians Aries+Aries and Tiffany Haddish were recently accused of sexually abusing two children during a filming for an online comedy sketch that took place back in 2013. They, of course, have denied these allegations. Now, in this video, we will review the allegations, narrow down a timeline, and put some perspective on what happened to the victims and why. So recently, Aries+Aries and Tiffany Haddish have come under fire and were accused in a lawsuit of some pretty shocking things. The comedians were served with the lawsuit by the plaintiffs, who were identified in the suit as Jane and John Doe. They said that they knew Tiffany Haddish through their mother. Now, when Tiffany was a guest speaker at the comedy camp that Jane Doe attended, Tiffany told then 14-year-old Jane Doe that she had the perfect role for her in the summer of 2013, according to this complaint. Now, Tiffany told Jane Doe's mother a redacted and completely minimal explanation about what this skit would be about. Now, when Jane Doe and Tiffany went to a studio to film the skit, the lawsuit claims that Jane Doe was shown a video of two adults. Now, in the video, the adults are grotesquely shoving as much sandwich as they could into their mouths. The two were moaning and making sexual noises as they eat the sandwich in a manner that simulated a sex act, according to the lawsuit. Then Aries+Aries told Jane Doe to mimic what was seen and heard in the video, and Tiffany advised her how to do it, the lawsuit alleges. Jane Doe says that she did what they told her to so she can go home. Now, the following year, the lawsuit claims that Tiffany offered to book, arrange, and film an audition tape for then 7-year-old John Doe for a Nickelodeon acting job. Now, at Aries+Aries' home, they allegedly stripped the boy down to his underwear for a video about the mind of a pedophile. Now, according to the lawsuit, the video shows Aries+Aries lusting over the 7-year-old child and molesting him, as well as performing sexualized acts throughout the video. Now, the complaint claims that Tiffany Haddish was present during the filming of the entire video. Now, John Doe called his mother crying after the filming, the lawsuit claims, saying he no longer wanted to film. The lawsuit claims the mother of the children reaches out to Aries+Aries shortly after that, wanting to see the footage. And he says to her that it's not edited and it would not be able to be reviewed because it's not ready. Then a few days later, Aries allegedly says that John Doe was uncooperative, so the footage is unusable and it's been deleted. However, the video was showcased on the popular comedy website Funny or Die. Now, the website Funny or Die told ABC News that the content appeared on its website as user-generated content, but it was removed in 2018 after they learned of its existence. Funny or Die found this video absolutely disgusting and would never produce such content, the website said in a statement to ABC News. We were not involved with the conceptualization, development, funding, or production of this video. Now, according to the complaint, the family was made aware of the video's existence due to a 2018 gossip column on Aries+Aries' past controversies. The lawsuit claims that the mother of Jane and John Doe tried to settle the issue with Aries in the past, but she did not have proper legal representation. So Aries had told her that this tape did not exist. There was no footage. So then to learn that there is footage and it is actually being shown on a website, the mother is now wanting money. She's wanting to, settle this or bring a lawsuit. I'm not sure what she wants, but I need to know, how long was this video on Funny or Die? Was it up there from 2014 to 2018, or did they just upload it in 2018? Now, it's also important to note that any claim of abuse should be taken seriously and investigated to the fullest extent, and if parties are found to be guilty of the allegations, they should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. So with this being said, let's peel back the layers of this accusation. Now, the first thing that immediately sticks out to me about this situation is, what is the connection between Tiffany Haddish and Aries+Aries? Why would they be working together to do a private video in the first place? And what's the need to have children in this video? This project seems to be independent collaboration between the two of them, but the question is, why? What was the status of their relationship as friends, their careers at that time? So in the year 2013, Tiffany Haddish, she's got a reoccurring role on Real Husbands of Hollywood. This is also the year that her divorce from her husband, William Stewart, was finalized. Now, what's the connection between her and Aries? Well, the Laugh Factory. They both have ties to this comedy club. Now, what's Tiffany's ties? Well, in 1997, her social worker gave her an ultimatum to attend either a psychiatric therapy or the Laugh Factory comedy camp. Now, Tiffany, she's a troubled teen at that time. She's been through a lot in her life, including being raped by a police cadet when she was 17. And Tiffany says that this incident led to her aggressiveness in avoiding unwanted advances from men. So when the counselor gave her the choice between psychiatric therapy and the comedy camp, that seems odd to me, like especially due to the level of trauma Tiffany had experienced. Why would a professional recommend this place? What was it about this club? I mean, at this time, Tiffany's 17. She graduated from high school, but she's homeless and living in her car. Now, Tiffany does credit the comedy club with being a positive force in her life. She has said that the mentorship she received from there, from Richard Pryor and the Wayans brothers and others, helped her discover a passion for comedy that actually saved her life. Now, Aries+Aries was actually a regular at the Laugh Factory in 1997 when Tiffany was there doing her mentorship. So it's highly likely that this is where the two met. So fast forward to the years that the alleged abuse happened to John and Jane Doe, which was the years 2013 and 14. How and why did Aries and Tiffany hook up to do this skit? Now, to answer that question, let's get some context into their lives, all right? So 2013, Tiffany, she's on The Real Husbands of Hollywood. 2014, though, she's cast in Oprah's drama series, If Loving You Is Wrong. Meanwhile, 2013, 2014, Aries+Aries is on the show Who Gets the Last Laugh, and that was sort of like a prank show that aired on TV. He had also done about 3 seasons of Mad TV. He's been in several movies, TV shows. He even had his own comedy special. So Aries was actually very connected, and he knew his way around the comedy scene. Now, in the complaint, Jane Doe said that she met Tiffany at a summer camp where Tiffany was the guest speaker. So that's definitely a true statement, because we know that camp is actually the Laugh Factory comedy camp. And Tiffany and Aries, they're what? They've been connected to that camp and club for years. Now, Tiffany allegedly told Jane that she had the perfect role for her. Jane said that her mother had no idea what the skit would involve. Only Aries and Tiffany knew the storyline for the skit. Jane said that she was told to watch a video that showed a group of co-eds eating a sandwich in a suggestive manner from opposite ends. They're moaning, they're making noises as they eat the sandwich. So physically, emotionally, mentally uncomfortable, Jane, she mimics what they're doing. Tiffany and Aries, they want her to do it, so she does it so she can go home. So a few things to point out here. Jane Doe said that Tiffany was a speaker at the comedy camp, and Tiffany said to her that she had the perfect role. So now keep in mind that Jane said she met Tiffany at the camp, but in the lawsuit she says they knew Tiffany through their mother. Then Jane said that Tiffany, she says, I got the perfect role for you. Well, if Jane is meeting Tiffany at this camp, what would make Tiffany just reach out to Jane in the crowd out of all the other little girls? What was it about her that made Tiffany want her to be cast in a role? Now, fast forward to the filming of the skit. How did Jane get there? Did her mother drop her off? Would a mother really drop their 14-year-old daughter off to a filming of a skit? She doesn't know anything about it, especially with adults that she possibly doesn't know. Now, Jane says that she was shown a video. They're eating it, the sex noises. And then Tiffany shows her how to do this. Now, keep in mind, Jane's 14. She says that she's uncomfortable. So you just, at 14 years old, you just do it and you leave. Okay, so let's say you did that. You're traumatized, right? You didn't know anything about this, what it was going to entail. You get there with 2 adults. You're impressionable. And so you just do it. And I can believe that. I can definitely see something like that. But then a year later in 2014, Tiffany calls the family, offers the family a role for the younger brother. According to this complaint, Tiffany describes it as a sizzle reel for Nickelodeon. And they accept it, and then Jane accompanies her brother and serves as a chaperone to this shoot. And then when they get there, the siblings allegedly are told that they need to separate. Now, my first concern again is, where's the mom? And if Jane was assaulted by these two adults the previous year, why would you take your 7-year-old brother around these people? And then when you get there, why would Jane allow her brother to be alone with anyone? Now, while her brother was doing this sizzle reel, where was Jane? So John, according to the complaint, he's told to strip down to his underwear for a skit titled Through a Pedophile's Eyes. Now, the storyline allegedly revolved around a child who was left alone with a man. The male character was played by Aries+Spears. According to the lawsuit, Aries+Spears leers at the child lustfully in multiple scenes before massaging him with oil. Now, the complaint said that the boy was molested and sexual acts were performed on him throughout the entire video, and Tiffany was present the entire time. Again, where's the sister during this time? She said that they told to be separated, but you allowed both the adults to be present with your 7-year-old brother at 14. Now, the man later gets into the bathtub with the boy and forces him to come closer to him in the tub. John, according to the complaint, was portrayed as leering lustfully at Aries+Spears in the final scene as the video closes and the words, "Watch who you leave your kids with," appear on the screen. Now, John Doe, he calls his mother crying after the filming, and the lawsuit claims that he no longer wants to film. And the mom says, "What would you be filming that would make my son cry?" Now, the lawsuit claims that the mother of the children reached out to Aries shortly after, wanting to see the footage, right? Well, Aries said there is none. It's been deleted. Your son was not cooperative, so there's nothing we can use. But still and yet, the skit's posted on a website. Now, the skit was something that was independently done by Aries+Spears, because if you look at the skit on the bottom, it says Accusations.com. Now, it also, like I said, it made its way to the website Funny or Die. And this website is actually where skits by other comedians and actors are independently published. Now, Funny or Die describes themselves as being a premier entertainment brand and independent comedy studio that creates award-winning premium comedy with today's biggest stars and tomorrow's freshest voices. They also say that they have a passion for treating talent well and making premium comedy that never fails to surprise anyone, including themselves. With those principles as their constant guide, they look forward to dominating the known comedy universe and one day, perhaps, maybe even breaking even. Now, they did make a true statement there. They do surprise people and themselves because they didn't even know that the video was on their website. Now, I find it odd that they claim to not approve of the video. They didn't have anything to do with the production of the video, but yet they acknowledged that it existed and it was on their site. They said they found the video to be absolutely disgusting. They would never produce such content, but it was loaded to their site. You do not know what's on your site? How do you not know what is on the website? I don't care whether or not people, independently publish things or it's user generated. You still should know if there are things that are inappropriate being posted. Now, my question for them would be, this video was produced in 2014. How long was it on your site before you discovered it? Did you just discover that in 2018? Or was it just uploaded? So was it on there for 4 years? Now, while the video appears to be scrubbed from the internet, there is a website for archive content that has revealed a copy of the alleged video. Now, one part of the skit shows Spears sitting next to the boy in the tub and making a reference to Jerry Sandusky, who is the former coach from Penn State who was accused of sexually abusing children. He says, "Did you know I was best friends with Penn State Sandusky?" They have a touch and don't tell policy. Now, why would you be telling that to a little boy? Now, I watched the video, and due to YouTube's community guidelines, I cannot post it in this video. However, I will say that it is very disturbing. The fact that it was intended to be funny is actually what bothers me. Then the implications that are made in the video also concern me. So the premise of the video is that you never know who you could be leaving your kids with. Now, The Mind of a Pedo is the title. So my first question, why? Why would this be funny? Nothing about being a pedo is funny. Now, in the video, Tiffany Haddish is the mother to a very young boy. She is single, I suppose, and she has to keep leaving the son with the uncle to run errands. Now, in the video, there's scenes where the uncle is looking through the eyes that have been cut out of a newspaper, and peeking through these eyes, he's watching the little boy, who, mind you, basically has no clothing on. He's wearing nothing but underwear. So Aries+Aries, he's playing the uncle, and when he's peeping through these newspaper peepholes, they are playing the song by R. Kelly, Bump and Grind, particularly the part when he says, "My mind's telling me no." So, of course, he's lusting after the little boy through the peepholes, and he's making faces. He's even licking his tongue. But the odd thing is that they are attempting to make this funny. Then there's a scene with the boy in the bathtub, and he's taking a bubble bath. And Tiffany asks the uncle to watch the boy again, and the scene with the newspaper and R. Kelly plays again. He's looking at the little boy in the tub. Now they repeatedly make references to masturbation by suggestive hand movements. The boy has a toy train. He's rubbing it up and down. Then they flash the camera to the boy's behind area to insinuate anal sex, all the while trying to make it as though it is funny. But this is not what takes the cake. What does it for me is at the end of the video, when they flip the script and they have the little boy looking through the newspaper with suggestive eyes, as though Aries+Aries is actually attractive to him now, while they're playing the R. Kelly song. Disgusting, to say the least. Now, there's also a scene where the little boy, he puts baby oil on Aries+Aries. He puts it on the upper body while he has no shirt on. So the fact that these scenes have to be acted out is a problem. Where's the production team, camera crew? Are there other adults present to direct this film? Or was it simply just done by Aries and Tiffany with a camera on a tripod? You can tell that it's filmed in Aries' home. It's not in a studio, and it gives very much low budget. Now, the context of the video, it's just problematic. Filming it, it's a whole other level of weirdness. So, since these accusations came out, I think Tiffany, she claims that she lost all of her jobs, okay? She told TMZ, "All of my gigs are gone. Everything is gone. I don't have no job, bro." She has 2 projects in post-production, but none that she currently is filming or that she has listed as in pre-production. She also has no upcoming tour dates, so it's looking bad. Now, Tiffany also, she reached a private settlement recently with Jane and John Doe, and details of the settlement are still unclear, but part of the agreement could involve her publicly apologizing for her role in the skits. Now, it's still unclear how her private decision will impact Aries+Aries, though. Now, under the settlement, both parties have actually agreed to block the public from seeing the original complaint, to keep private and protect the identity of John Doe, who is still a minor. Now, federal officials also agreed to temporarily seal the complaint because it contains several photographs of the minor in an undressed state. But what has Aries+Aries had to say about these allegations? Well, of course he has denied them, and he stated that it's a case of extortion and basically a shakedown. But Aries also says something that is surprising. He said his career, he's been blackballed. He said, "I already felt like my career was over. Before all of this, I thought I was blackballed and my shit was over. But I always said I felt that maybe I was one thing away from the turnaround. But now with this, I'm almost certain that tombstone is written." So blackballed, I mean, before this, he felt blackballed by Hollywood. What would lead him to be blackballed, though? What happened in his career? He had that run with Mad TV. Why would you be blackballed? Well, in an interview with Vlad TV, he even went further on to say that a Fox executive actually shot him down for a role in a cartoon that Kevin Hart was developing. He also stated that he hasn't been in a major movie since Jerry Maguire or on TV consistently since Mad TV. He fears that he's blackballed due to things that he has said in his past interviews. So this leads people to speculate, is this another Hollyweird conspiracy? Tiffany Haddish said that this skit was intended to be funny, but she sees that it obviously was not funny. Now, just with some of the things that she said since this has been exposed, I get the feeling that it's actually a sigh of relief for her. Like she's been carrying this all for years. It's a weight off of her shoulders. I feel like whatever her reasons were for taking part in this, she's regretted it from the start. Even the statements that the victims have made, they state that they know that Tiffany would never hurt them, and they just want to put it in the past when it comes to her. But they don't seem to make a reference to Aries. It almost feels like Aries spearheaded the project. Tiffany's career seemed to skyrocket in the following years, but his declined. So now it was seen like this is humiliating him. He just looks defeated in all of his interviews, even before this came to light. So when thinking about Hollyweird, we can say that Aries+Spears, did he help Tiffany get her career off the ground with a ritual involving children? Because as we all know, these rituals that the elites take part in, it always seems to involve an innocent. And now on the back end, the humiliation that Aries is going to go through is now part of his comeback, right? Like a humiliation ritual usually involves the celebrity going through some sort of public scandal only to be rewarded in the end with riches, opportunities, and fame. Now, while accusations of molestation are real, like I said, and nothing to be taken lightly, there are instances where people, unfortunately, are extorted. Some of these parents want money so bad that they willingly put their children into the hands of pedos. They take them to these video shoots, these so-called acting gigs, concerts, willingly leaving them with grown adults in their quest for riches. It just drives them to use their kids as pawns. They often take the money up front, knowing exactly what's going to happen to their kids. They hear the rumors. They know what's going on behind the scenes, and they even feel the suspicions with the request that they're left alone with the kids. They even are given directives that there's not to be any parents accompany these minors, but they still take the kids anyway. Now, years later, once the kid is older and there's no more payments coming, there's no more hush money coming in the mail, now it's what? Time to sue. But we can also tie this into the Hollyweird conspiracy if we want to, and we can say that there are being rituals performed in order for celebrities to gain riches and fame. And like I said, these rituals often involve children. Now, when people mention this, a lot of times these accusations, they are shot down as conspiracy theories, that they have no merit. Things that are done in the shadows of Hollywood, in the dark and secret, we all know that they happen. But do they really happen? Do we really know? Yes, we really know they happen. It kind of goes in that merry-go-round. Like, do we know? Do we not know? So that means that nothing's really ever uncovered. And then when stories are talked about of things happening to children in Hollywood, they're just not really taken seriously. Do you ever wonder why that is? Like, probably because these are things that are true. And people that are taking part in these things, well, they're pretty well connected people. So there's this report called the Gunderson Report, and it's a 25-year research into the unresolved cases involving horrific satanic child rituals. Now, there's a declassified FBI file that was released in 2019, and it reveals the McMartin case and the Finders case that have been kept secret from the public view since the 1970s and 80s. Now, these reports expose the criminality of satanic cults, ritual child sex abuse, human sacrifice, human trafficking, child pornography, and mind control psyops experimented on children. But as horrific as these crimes are, the most damning ones are those committed through our own justice system by our CIA, the FBI, and other intelligence companies and their connections with people of power in the government, in the Justice Department, the immigration system, the military. They're even in the educational system, in medical science, the elite class, terrorist organizations, and many other groups. Now, in this Gunderson report, there was a group called the Finders Group. Now, the search for this group began when 6 unkept and bug-infested children ages 2 to 7 were found in a Tallahassee park in Florida on February 4th of 1987. Now, these kids were accompanied by two well-dressed men that were driving a blue Dodge van. Now, inside of the van was said to be foul-smelling, and it was littered with maps, books, documents, U.S. passports. There was even a mattress in there, making it appear that the van looked to be being lived in. Now, these two men were arrested by police officers when they could not identify who these kids were that they were with. They didn't know the kids' names. They didn't know who their parents were. And they later were charged for child abuse after more than one of them showed evidence of sexual abuse after they were examined by a doctor. Now, the police had reason to believe that the two men were involved in child pornography, and they sought assistance from local customs offices to conduct a search through their child pornography database. But of course, the results were negative, surprisingly. But further investigation revealed that the U.S. passports and other documents that were found in the van actually contained Washington, D.C. addresses. Now, upon further investigation, they found that the children may have been living between an apartment complex and a warehouse that was in Washington, D.C. Now, they also identified a third location in Madison County, Virginia, where there was this farmhouse that they also were taking these children to. And this farmhouse contained evidence of satanic rituals. They discovered cages that were reported to be used for the children who visited that farm. Now, this finders group were the ones responsible for this. And this group consisted of 40 members. And an informant told officials that the group was involved in brainwashing children, blood rituals, sexual orgies with children, and murder. So eventually they were able to detain members of the finders group. And a member of the group told the investigators that their organization actually started back in 1972 with the idea of actually responding to people that were in emergencies. And the members claimed that they were an association of intellectuals who had chosen to live an alternate communal life. They gathered information from people and companies, and that the mothers of the children that they had all agreed that they could take the kids to Florida. Now, the Gunderson Report also spoke about a warrant that was issued on another location in Washington, D.C. And at that location, they found children's clothing and toys. The clothing consisted of diapers and clothes in the toddler to preschool range. Now, no children, thankfully, were found on the premises, but there were several people that were there. But only one of them was found to be part of this finders group. Now, the rest of the people that were renting, they were just renting living space from the person that was a member of the finders group. However, there was substantial amount of computer equipment and documents that they found there, and it contained alarming information. There were instructions including the impregnation of female members of that community, purchasing of children, trading children, and kidnapping them. Now, there were arrangements for the sale of children in Hong Kong, and this sale was arranged through a contact in the Chinese embassy. These people were very well connected. Now, more documents seized showed large collections of photos of children in the nude and photos of adults and children dressed in white sheets, participating in blood rituals. The blood centered around the execution of two goats. And in the photos, the execution, disembowelment, skinning, and dismemberment of the goats at the hands of the children were depicted. So when all of this evidence was presented to the FBI, you would think that there would be this major investigation that would lead to many arrests and people being exposed. Well, the opposite happened. The agent that had handed over this evidence was told that everything had been given to the State Department, who said that all trips made abroad, the passports used, everything was within the law. No federal laws had been broken. It was as if they hadn't even blinked an eye at the disturbing scenes shown in the photos and the activities that they knew were taking place. The case became a classified internal matter for the CIA and was deemed to be secret and not available for review. The FBI had dropped the case. Then on February 18th of 1987, the U.S. State's Attorney's Office declined prosecution for the violation, kidnapping, and sexual exploitation of children, stating that there was not enough evidence proving that the children were kidnapped or sexually abused by this group. So then in 1993, there was a second investigation done by the Justice Department because questions concerning whether or not the Finders probe had been handled properly in 1987 continued to haunt Washington, D.C. There were unresolved allegations concerning the CIA's connection with the Finders Group. Now, the CIA had used a firm called Future Enterprises to provide agents with computer training. And this firm was actually owned by the Finders Group. So it was apparent that they had connections with this group. And why would the CIA be affiliated with this group? Well, further investigation revealed that there was a woman who was the wife of the leader of the Finders Group. She had worked in the CIA from 1950 to 1971. The CIA knew that this woman's husband was part of the Finders Group, but the CIA still continued to deny that they were connected to this group. But it was speculated that because the woman's husband was a powerful leader of the Finders Group and she worked for the CIA, this gave him open house to a wide variety of intellectuals ranging from high-ranking military officials to former CIA chiefs. Now, these people all believed in a one-world government and New Age occult ideas. Now, the investigator that was responsible for the Gunderson Report, his name is Ted Gunderson. He felt that the connection between the Finders Group and the CIA was simple. The Finders were a CIA front established in the 1960s. And these were his words. He says, "It has top clearance and protection in its assigned task of kidnapping and torture programming of young children throughout the United States." Now, the members of this group are specially trained government kidnappers known to be sexual degenerated, who involve children in satanic sex orgies and blood rituals, as well as murders of other children and slaughter of animals. Now, the Gunderson Report is shocking and alarming to say the least, but it is evidence that there are individuals within our society that are connected and are taking part in rituals involving children. Now, I know that information was a lot to digest, and some of you may be wondering, what does that have to do with Aries+Aries and Tiffany Haddish? Well, the elite class that they say is part of this Finders Group, the elite class consists of musicians, actors, sports players, social media influencers, basically celebrities or people that consider themselves to be in the entertainment industry. These people are all connected, which is why you see people that you wouldn't even expect to see together, let alone even know each other. You see these people out at parties together, or they seem to be coming from a dinner or a social function together. They are all part of the same system. Now, the rituals to gain success, riches, and power call for them to do a variety of things, and many times children are involved. So what we saw in the video produced by Aries and Tiffany could be more than what we see with our eyes. Because if you think about it, what would be the point of that video? If it was made to be funny or if it was something that Aries thought up, why was it done privately? It just seems weird. What was the purpose of that video? To warn people about pedos? Okay, let's just say that's the motive. To educate and bring awareness. Okay, so why the satire? Why the sexually suggestive scenes, the focusing on the little boys behind, the putting of the oil on the body, playing R. Kelly's song? It was all so disturbing and weird. And then some people speculate that Tiffany Haddish, her initiation ritual, actually came through with the biting of Beyonce by Sanaa Lathan, and that Tiffany Haddish was actually initiated by Queen Bee herself. So in the beginning, she was going to be initiated by Aries+Aries and, into the comedy world using another comedian for this ritual. But she actually, down the line was initiated by Beyonce. So now this whole thing has backfired, and now Aries+Aries is actually taking the fall for this. But in order to get back in the game, he's got to go through a humiliation ritual. So honey, there's so many narratives with this that people are, trying to tie together with Hollywood. But it's worth taking a look at, and it's worth, thinking about. I mean, Beyonce and Tiffany Haddish did have that run-in with Sanaa Lathan biting Beyonce and Tiffany taking up for Beyonce with this. And some say this was actually a ritual. So let me know what you guys think in the comments, as always. So as usual, you guys, I am interested to hear what you think about this. Please drop down in the comments section below. Let me know what your thoughts are. Be sure to like this video, share the video, but most importantly, be sure to subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.